You've probably met someone whose ego was so loud, it filled the room before they even said a word. But here's the strange part. That person you're thinking of right now might actually be you. Think about it for a second. When was the last time you felt the sudden need to prove something about yourself? To correct someone's opinion of you? To protect an image you've built, even if just inside your own head? What if I told you that everything you believe about your ego, where it begins, what it protects, and why it fights so hard to survive, is completely backward? And what if understanding that one hidden truth could change the way you see every argument, every insecurity, and every single relationship you'll ever have? Let's begin. The ego is often described as the villain, the arrogant voice, the narcissist's weapon. But that's not really what the ego is. That's just what the ego looks like when it's scared. At its core, the ego is not confidence. It's the opposite. It's the psychological armor you built before you could even tie your shoes, designed to protect something incredibly fragile: your perceived self-worth. Here's the uncomfortable truth psychologists have known for decades. The louder the ego, the weaker the foundation underneath it. Think about the coworker who constantly announces their achievements, the friend who can never admit they're wrong, the online stranger who explodes at the slightest criticism. They aren't full of themselves. They are terrified of being seen as empty. And here's where it gets personal. You have an ego too, not because you're arrogant, but because you're human. And your ego has been running quietly in the background of every decision you've made today. Every time you checked your phone for likes, every time you felt a sting from someone's dismissive tone, every time you rehearsed a conversation in your head to sound smarter, funnier, or more impressive than you felt in the moment. That's the ego at work. But here's the twist most people never realize. The ego doesn't protect you from other people. It protects you from yourself, from the possibility that maybe you aren't who you think you are. Let that sink in. The ego is not a shield against the outside world. It's a shield against the terrifying silence inside your own mind, the silence where doubts live, where old failures echo, where the question, "Am I enough?" waits without an answer. And that's why criticism hurts so much. Not because the other person was rude, but because their words slipped past your armor and touched something you already secretly believed about yourself. The Brazilian novelist Paulo Coelho once wrote, "The ego is the veil between humans and God." But let's bring that down to earth. The ego is the veil between you and reality, between you and other people, between you and who you could become if you weren't so busy defending who you already are. Think about your most recent argument with someone you love, the one that got loud or silent or cold. Ask yourself honestly, were you fighting for the truth? Or were you fighting to protect an image of yourself that felt threatened? Most arguments are not about facts. They are about identity. You aren't defending your position. You're defending your sense of self. And that's why losing an argument feels like a small death. Here's an observation. From observing hundreds of people over years of watching human behavior, the most peaceful people you've ever met share one strange quality. They have shockingly small egos, not because they lack confidence, because they've stopped needing to prove anything to anyone. And that's the great paradox. The less you need to defend your self-image, the more actual self-worth you possess. So where does this hidden science leave us? You cannot kill your ego. Anyone who claims to have no ego is usually drowning in it. The ego is not your enemy. It's your outdated survival mechanism. It's the version of you that learned, somewhere in childhood, that your worth depends on being impressive, being right, being admired. But here's the path forward. The next time you feel that familiar rise of defensive,ness, the heat in your chest when someone challenges you, the sudden need to explain, justify, or attack, stop just for 3 seconds and ask yourself one question. What am I afraid they'll see if I don't defend myself right now? That one question breaks the spell because it shifts your attention from winning the fight to understanding the fear behind it. And that tiny shift from defending to observing is the only real antidote to the ego's grip. If you want to explore more hidden truths about human behavior, psychology, and the quiet forces shaping your daily life, consider subscribing. Thoughtic is built for people who prefer self-awareness over self-deception. And if this video stirred something in you, drop a comment about the last time your ego got the best of you. It helps more than you know, because the most important conversation you'll ever have isn't with the loud voices outside you. It's with the one inside that keeps trying to prove you're someone you've already become.